Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Paz. With me today is a very, very special guest. He is, of course, an Olympic gold medalist, a WWE Hall of Famer, a multiple-time world champion in every promotion he's been in. He is Mr. Kurt Angle. Kurt, welcome back to the two-man power trip. How you
Thank
doing?
you. Thanks for having me on the show again.
What's going on in your world? What have you been up to?
Ah, just having knee replacement surgeries. Getting through that right now. It's been about a month, and I'm still roughing it, but I'm getting there.
Man, that's crazy. You had both knees replaced, right?
Yeah, at the same time. Yeah, about a month ago.
What was that like? I mean, that's sad. Just sounds like, oh man, like that's not good.
Well, usually you have one at a time because
Right.
it's you're going to be destabilized, and so with me, the thing is, I wanted to get them out of the way. I just wanted to get them done and move forward with my life and not have to worry about the other down the road.
Now, how are you feeling though? Are you mobilized? Are you able to walk around?
Yeah, I could walk around. I'm still in a lot of pain though.
What
It
was
takes
that
some
like?
time. Hmm?
What's that like for you though? Because you're like the supreme athlete. You always seem like you're on the go.
Just doing the rehab, doing what I'm supposed to do, and hopefully, my knees will feel a lot better in the next few weeks.
Now, did you do this for any specific reason? Maybe a comeback, like something like that, or no?
No, no, my knees were shot. I had to have them done. I didn't have a choice.
It's funny because you see Ric Flair, right, 73 years old,
Mhm.
returning to the ring for one final time. What about Kurt Angle? Maybe one last time, one last run.
Not with the knee replacements. No, I'm not going to mess these knees up.
Could you do it though? You think maybe?
I have no idea, and I don't. I'm not going to try. No.
When I saw that first, not thinking clearly, but I was like, wow, I wonder if he's getting ready for like a return. Like, I wonder if he's getting himself back in shape.
I'm just trying to have a better quality of life. I'm not trying to get back in the ring. I just want to feel better about my body.
What do you think about Flair doing it?
Oh, I think it's awesome. I think that if he's going to do it, I'm not sure who he's going to wrestle. I was told possibly Ricky Morton or maybe even Jay Lethal, but I think Rick needs to go with a younger wrestler, somebody that can carry him a little bit better. If he goes with an older wrestler, it's going to look a little bit like two old men wrestling. And I think that Rick needs a younger talent to be able to have a great match if he wants to have a great match.
And I just talked to him, and he was talking about like, he feels like he's fundamentally there. But do you think like being fundamentally good, but being ring shape? I mean, that's completely different. Like, will he be able to do it?
Rick's always been able to. He's always been able to adapt. Even when he took time off from wrestling, I remember one time he didn't wrestle for 2 years, and I got in the ring with him, and he lasted the whole match, 20 minutes long. Didn't have a problem. So Rick seems to always be prepared no matter what.
I think it was what 15, 16 years ago. Maybe you guys had that match. It was actually really good. I remember it.
Yeah, I think it was on Raw. I'm not sure what
Yep.
city. I think Anaheim, California, but it wasn't a bad match at all.
It kind of showed like, wow, look, Flair can still go. I mean, you're obviously part of that too, but it's like, wow, look at Flair, he could still go.
Yeah, Rick. You know what? He was gone at that point in time, and that was 20 years ago. I know he's in his 70s now, but I think that Rick will. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people.
Now, were you happy with like the end of your career, the end of your run? Because it seemed like Flair wasn't, and that's kind of why he wants to do it on his own terms. Were you happy with the way it ended for you?
No, not at all. I went back to WWE. Uh, it wasn't a big welcome home. It was more of a, you know, we're gonna show you what you did when you left us, and I didn't have any hard feelings about it, but Vince McMahon just didn't have any plans for me, and I was doing more jobs than I was winning, and I don't blame him for that. I left the company high and dry in 2006, and coming back to retire. I think he felt that I was a little bit of a liability because of my broken necks. I had 4 broken necks in WWE back in the 2000s, and I also had a painkiller problem that I actually, got myself out of. But I think that he felt I was a little bit of a liability, so he didn't want to utilize me the way he should have.
Do you think that? In your mind though, like, hey, like I'm Kurt Angle though, like I'm Kurt freaking Angle over here. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. What can you do? You know, it's Vince McMahon. He's gonna do what he wants to do, and you don't really have control over that. So you just have to go with the flow.
Do you think like you see some other guys maybe get like a Shawn Michaels esque retirement tour or something like that? I know you said you left them high and dry, but still, Kurt Angle, WWE legend, wrestling legend. It could have been better, should have been better. I think it should have been planned out more.
Well, I did too, but that wasn't in the plans, and I think it had to do with I spent more time in TNA than I did WWE, and I think that was the downfall of my return. I only spent 6.5 years in WWE at the beginning, and then I went to TNA for 11 years, and then I finished my career with WWE. So I was more of a TNA wrestler, to be honest with you.
When you look at that, it's crazy to think like because everybody knows the WWE stuff, but do you think you were better in TNA?
Yeah, because I matured as a wrestler. Um, when I started out in WWE, I only had 8 months experience when I started on TV. I didn't know what I was doing. I would listen to my opponent, and he would lead me through the matches, and I was learning very quickly. But I didn't get into my groove until around 2006, when I became the best wrestler in the world, and that's when I left the WWE and went to TNA. And I had a much more formidable career in TNA, a lot better matches, I'd have to say. But I had some great ones in WWE too, so I can't complain.
Oh, no doubt. It's great matches everywhere. But it's funny to think like, okay, you're wrestling, Benoit and Eddie and Lesnar, but you may have had better matches with Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and like Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, even Stinger. I was, like I said, I was really fixated on my career at that point in time. I was a lot better of a wrestler, and I developed more, and I was able to have much better matches at that point in time.
When you are getting better, like, are you learning the psychology more? Are you selling more? Like, what's the difference?
Getting comfortable. You do it by repetition. The more you wrestle, the more comfortable you get in the ring. The more you have less jitters. You're more relaxed, and you're able to learn the psychology a lot more. Because when you're nervous and jittery, you're not thinking psychology. You just want to get the match done. And I was able to learn how to take my time and slow down.
Now, you mentioned Vince. Obviously, he's got his own troubles right now. Yeah, he's going through some stuff. Did you always have like a good relationship, bad relationship? Like, what's the relationship like with Vince? And is there any relationship today with him?
Oh, I have a great relationship with Vince. I did when I started. I got a little shady after I left. I was pretty I was pretty bitter about the what transpired with my injuries and the painkiller problem, and it was just a lot going on at that particular time. And I stopped contact with Vince when I went to TNA. But when WWE called me back for my retirement, we left off where we started. Basically, we became close again, and he was always a father figure to me, and he still was when I returned to WWE.
I remember hearing a story. I think you were getting in a fight with him, or about to get in a fight with him, or you thought you were going to get in a fight with him.
Vince wanted to fight me. Yeah, that was the meeting when I left the company, and what happened was I was at that particular time I was taking a lot of painkillers, and I didn't take them before my matches. I never wrestled high on painkillers, but I would take them afterward. And I was texting Vince and calling him and leaving him messages. And I was threatening him. And it's crazy because I don't remember doing it. And
Yeah.
when I went to meet with him, when I wanted to leave the company, he had a bunch of text messages typed down on paper. And I'm reading them, and it says, Vince, when I see you, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Vince, when I see you, I'm going to kick your ass. And I was like, holy crap. I was actually text him this. And he got up. He said, you want to kick my ass? Let's go right now. And I was like, holy shit. Vince McMahon wants to fight me. I immediately got up and left the room. I just had too much respect. I'm not going to fight Vince McMahon anyway. But I just felt like I let him down, with the text messages and stuff. And the what was going on at that particular time was I was getting injured, and they were continuing to keep me on the road I was doing a full time schedule. I wanted to go part time. They wouldn't allow me to do that, so I started lashing out, and unfortunately, it was my fault. But I'm the only one that can take the blame for that. Vince had nothing to do with it.
Who would have won?
I don't know. Vince is a pretty tough guy. He's a pretty big dude too.
I always hear stories of him challenging the guys. Is that like normal for him? Like he thinks he could take everybody?
Well, no, I mean Vince is one of those guys that wants to see what it feels like to be like if Mike Tyson came to him, Vince would say, "Hey, punch me in the face. I want to see what it feels like." He wants, when we were on a plane one time and he was drinking a lot of wine and he kept jumping on me. He wanted to wrestle me. It was a plane ride from hell. Um, and Vince kept jumping on me and wrestling me because he wanted to see what it felt like to wrestle an Olympic gold medalist. Vince always wants to have that feeling. He always wants to be around the best. He wants to be able to compete with the best. He's very competitive.
It seems like he is super competitive, but it seems like he's like one of the boys. Like he wants to get in there and wrestle with some of the boys.
Yeah. Well, Vince does that. I mean, there are certain times when he does get in the ring and wrestle with the boys. Whether or not he's testing himself, which I think he is, the fans love to watch him wrestle. He's a big draw. Anytime he gets in that ring, fans order the pay-per-view. They want to see him wrestle.
Yeah, even if he's not the most athletic, he's Vince. You know what I mean? He's got
Yes, he's Vince
that.
McMahon. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Like I've heard of him challenging Lesnar before, which may not be some of the smartest thing to do. Brock is a monster.
Yeah, but Vince is a tough dude. He can take he'll take the punishment, no doubt about it.
Now, what about you and Brock? Obviously, you guys have a storied history. And I know we've talked about this the last time a little bit was about WrestleMania 19. You wrestled. I mean, you were really injured, and you did the favors for Brock and you put him over. But what about wrestling Brock?
Wrestling Brock, me?
Yep.
Oh, we did. We had a wrestling match. We did.
No, so I mean WrestleMania 19 and putting him over. But what's it
No,
feel like
we did a
wrestling?
real wrestling match.
Oh, you mean for real? Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah. That was when Brock first started. What happened was
Oh,
the Brooklyn Brawler went to Brock and said, "Hey, what do you think would happen if you and Kurt wrestled?" And Brock said, "I would kick his ass because he's too small." So Brooklyn Brawler told me about it, and I went up to Brock and I said, "If you can kick my ass, let's get in the ring right now." And he said, "I have sandals on." I said, "That's all right. Let's take our shoes off." He said, "Nah." So I let it go, and the following week he was in the ring with Big Show, and they were actually wrestling for real. And Brock was picking him up and slamming him on his back. I mean, he was manhandling Big Show. It was scaring the crap out of me because Big Show at that particular time was 530 pounds. And Brock was just picking
yeah.
him up and slamming him easily. I was like, maybe this guy is, impossible to beat. But what I did is Big Show was facing me and Brock's back was to me. They were in the ring and I was on the ring apron. And Big Show looked at me and I said, "Get out of the ring." And he said, "Okay." And when he left, I walked up behind Brock and tapped him on the shoulder. I said, "It's time to go." And we went. And you know what? The rumor is that I kicked his ass. Not true. It was a really close match. I took him down a couple times. He didn't take me down at all, but it was a pretty tight match. But who won? Kurt Angle.
Nice. See, I got confused. I was thinking you meant like actual wrestling. I didn't know it was like a shoot fight. So that's awesome. Like
Well,
real.
not
I
a
mean,
shoot fight,
real.
a shoot wrestling match.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
amateur wrestling match. Yeah.
Right. But that's great, though. I mean, he's probably got what 60 pounds on you, and you're able to get the victory. I mean, it's so unbelievable.
Probably about 85, 90 pounds. Yeah. I
Wow.
was 220. Brock was around 300, 305.
Wow. How'd you do it though? Like you just technique?
Yeah, all technique. That's all I could do. I'm not going to outpower him, or I'm not a better athlete than Brock. But using the technique and also conditioning, I was getting him tired, and that's when the takedown started occurring. So, there's just some tricks that I had up my sleeve when I wrestled Brock.
That's great. Was he shocked though, like at your power? And I mean, obviously you're Olympic gold medalist, but was he shocked at all that he wasn't able to throw you around?
No, no, I don't with that. He never portrayed that at all. You know, I think that Brock thought he had a chance to beat me, and I think you know, 9 out of 10 people would have probably thought Brock would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have like just I know you're Olympic gold medalist, but he's like, oh, okay, he's got 80 pounds. You know, he might just on pure strength and size be able to do it, but technique wins the day.
Right, right. You're absolutely right.
Now with you, I'm talking about like WWE style wrestling and in the match, WrestleMania 19. What's he like in the ring? Is he easy? Is he snug? Is he stiff? Is he rough? Like what's it
He's
like?
one of the best workers in the business. Very light. He knows how to go. He knows psychology. The kid is he picked it up very quickly, and he was really talented. Very mature for his age back then, because he was only like 22 years old when he started in WWE, and he always had it. He was a great talent, one of the best.
When WrestleMania 19 comes around, you were very injured, right? You almost didn't do the match.
Yeah, I broke my neck, and I had some problems. You know what happened was I decided not to wrestle at WrestleMania 19, and long story short was I was supposed to do the job for Brock a week before WrestleMania because of my neck was broken. So Vince wanted to take the title off me, so he wanted me to go on SmackDown the week before WrestleMania, and basically just have Brock do his F5 and pin me and win the match, win the title. And I went to my neighbor's house about a week before that, and this kid named Johnny, very special kid. He showed me a magazine. It was a Direct TV magazine, and it was me and Brock on the cover. And it was like it was a big deal, you know, WrestleMania 19 coming up soon. And he said, "Kurt, I really wish you would wrestle WrestleMania." And literally, I started crying. So I called Vince and said, "Hey, instead of doing that match on SmackDown, why don't we just go WrestleMania? I'll do what I can, and we'll make it work."
Man, and it's a great match too. I know Brock gets knocked out a little bit, obviously doing
He
the
almost
shooting star
broke his
press.
neck. I know. And you know what? My biggest fear was that I'd have to keep the title another month because I thought Brock broke his neck and he was out cold, and I covered him and I didn't think he was going to kick out. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to hold this title for another month. I won't be able to get my surgery, and right away anyway. And Brock kicked out. You know, he's a beast. And at that point in time, I said, hey, I'm gonna pick you up, cut me off, and give me the F5, and he did. And that was the end of the match. But it was a crazy match, crazy time in the business too.
Was the shooting star press supposed to be the finish?
Yes, the shooting star press was supposed to be the finish. It was my idea because Brock was using it in OVW. Um, so, you know, the thing is, I don't know if I was too far out, but it was when Brock went to do it, he kind of second guessed himself and did like a stutter. And then he went, and he didn't make the full rotation. He landed on his head, and it was just crazy. I mean, everybody was just in shock.
I noticed too because I've seen him do it before on tape where he just does it smooth. This he did a little hesitation, and then he did it, which definitely screwed up his timing. I think that definitely kind of messed him up and just screwed up the timing of the whole thing. It threw him off, and it kind of threw you off.
He didn't make it. He didn't make the rotation because he did stutter. It didn't go right way. He wasn't sure about the move, and he just kind of second guessed himself.
Man, it's just crazy to think about. Like, real stuff happens in the main event of WrestleMania like that, and you were quick on the fly to kind of change it and basically save the match.
Yeah, well, you have to. You know, there's nothing else you can do but make the best of it and the most of it, and that's what I did. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't come up with an incredible finish. I just told Brock to F5 me and finish the match.
Amazing, just like the history of that. Just of putting it all together and it happening like that because that's a huge show. It's WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like if it doesn't go down with Lesnar winning it, you're injured. You might have to still wrestle. I mean, crazy to think what could have happened.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Now, who are some of your just favorite opponents? I know we talked about Broxton, but who are some of your favorite opponents just of all time, TNA or WWE?
Chris Benoit was my favorite to work with. He matched my intensity, and that's why I really enjoyed working with him. His technique was incredible too. Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, The Rock, Austin, Triple H. I had a lot of great matches. John Cena, Randy Orton. I had him with all the Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers. With TNA, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Sting, Abyss, Bobby Roode, James Storm. Geez, so many great wrestlers. TNA had some great ones too. I was really, uh, I was really proud of my career. What I was able to do in both companies.
When you look at it, like who you've wrestled, I mean, who's who, and you've had great matches with everybody. I'm thinking about like Steve Austin and him making that comeback. Also, as another guy I was thinking about when I was saying Flair making a comeback. What do you think about Austin coming back? I mean, that was kind of crazy. I mean, you guys had great matches, but that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, you know what, Austin, I felt very badly about the way his career ended. You know, he walked out of the company. He was having issues with his lower back, and he didn't feel like he didn't want to have surgery on his back, so he decided that he was going to leave the company. And I think that leaving that way left a bitter taste in his mouth. I think coming back here last year was redemption for him. I think it's something that he always wanted to do in the back of his head. And he realized that he's not getting any younger, so he has to do it now or never. And I'm so happy that he did that because it just shows how big of a superstar he was. If you would have heard that arena when he came out, it was the loudest pop I've ever heard in my life of any athlete, wrestler, anything, any celebrity. Stone Cold Steve Austin is absolutely loved by everybody, all generations.
Does that give you any sort of like inkling, like, oh man, an itch, maybe an itch to get out there? No.
No, I don't want to get in there. I know my capabilities. I know my limitations, and you know, I've had a lot of neck injuries. I have a bad back. I have bad knees. It's just not possible for me.
Do you have any regrets looking back, like as far as a career? I know there must be some, but anything like sticks out, like maybe you regret or something you wish you would have done differently or could have done differently?
Um, I think maybe ironing out the situation I had with WWE. I wish my career was a little bit longer there. I think that if I would have done that, I'd be held in a higher regard in the WWE community. You know, being sit there 6.5 years, I think it was long enough to gain a lot of fans' respect, but not long enough to be, you know, to be in that, that group of guys, the Austin, the Triple H, Hulk Hogan, The Rock. I'm up there with those guys, but I just feel like if I would have had a couple more years behind me, I'd be up there right with them.
What do you think is like the biggest accomplishment in the wrestling career? Not, I know obviously a gold medal, but I mean pro wrestling career.
You know, winning the world titles, it shows that the company believes in you. It gives you the stamp of approval that you're one of the best workers in the company. You know, winning the title means a lot, and it's not just because they want to push you; it's because they trust you with it. And it's a great accomplishment. I won 6 world titles in WWE. Uh, I averaged about one a year, which was pretty good. And I also won, I think, 6 world titles in TNA. So I did pretty well for my career.
What do you think is like the legacy? What people are going to say about you like years from now, like the stamp? I know the three eyes is going to be probably right there with you, but like what are people going to say? Kurt Angle, like hard worker, like the hardest worker. Like what are they going to? What's the legacy of Kurt Angle?
I think that I'm up there in the top 5 as one of the best overall entertainers and wrestlers of all time. You know, I've proven myself in the ring. I've proven myself on the microphone. You know, I've done some really funny skits. I've been a badass, the wrestling machine. I've been a lot of different characters and very proud of my career. And I feel that it deserves a lot of respect.
Do you mind, like, when people are like, "Oh, Kurt Angle," like, the comedy stuff, do you mind when they mix that in, or is that all sports entertainment, it's you don't care, like, because 'cause you're a legit badass, you know what I mean? Like, there's always
Yeah,
that.
no, I love the comedy. I would have kept doing it if Vince McMahon didn't stop me. Vince wanted the fans to take me more seriously, so I had to cut out my comedy, and that's when I became the wrestling machine. But I loved doing the comedy. It was a lot of fun. I couldn't wait to come to work every week and do what I was doing. It was a blast, especially doing the skits with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Jimmy Crack Corn, and I don't care,
Yeah.
right? Where does that come from? Just naturally, you had that in you, and you just, dying to get it out?
I didn't know. I didn't even know I had it. It just kind of happened. And I had a great writer in WWE. His name was Brian Gewirtz, and we had great chemistry together. He could finish my sentence. I could finish his sentence. We just had we had a great repertoire, and we were really good together.
Now, hypothetically, like, dream matches, I know that term's thrown out there, but, like, Bret Hart versus you would definitely be one. Would there any be a guy, like, today, not saying you're coming back, 'cause you said you're not, but, like, any guy today that, like, is on your radar, like, "Ah, I'd love to wrestle that guy," or maybe a few guys?
Oh, yeah, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. Those two guys been able to really uh, lead the company, the WWE, uh, especially today. I have a lot of respect for Roman because Vince McMahon pushed him from the beginning, and he wasn't ready to be pushed, and the fans started hating him, and he had to dig himself out of a hole, and it was a really deep hole too, and he did it. I mean, to be able to come out of that and prove to everybody that you're the best worker in the business, that's amazing. I mean, especially the thing is when Vince McMahon wants to push someone and the fans don't think that he deserves it, the fans are going to shit on him, and they were shitting on Roman for a while, but not anymore. He's earned everybody's respect.
Yeah, he's the top guy now, for sure, the top draw. With, like, current wrestling, do you watch a lot of current wrestling or no?
Here and there, I don't watch a lot of it, but I try to keep up with it. Watch AEW every once in a while. I watched WWE. I watched SmackDown this past week. Wanted to see what Vince McMahon had to say. Wanted to see Matt Riddle wrestle. I love that kid. He's a great wrestler. So I watch it here and there.
What'd you think about it? Did you like it, what you saw?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not like the Attitude Era. We were able to. The company was a little more forgiving back then. We were able to do a lot of rated R stuff. Now, with the PG era, they're really, they're stuck in a corner. They have painted themselves into a corner, uh, and they can't really take a lot of chances because it's a publicly traded company. And so and you have a lot of kids watching the show now. Back in the Attitude Era, it was young adults and teenagers. So it's a lot different. The viewership now is a lot different. It's kids and parents.
For sure. Now, as we wind it down, we head towards the finisher. What's next for you? What do you got coming up next?
Well, I have a podcast called The Kurt Angle Show that I do every week, and I also have a supplement company called Physically Fit Nutrition. We have these products called Chicken Snacks and Snack Smart Crispy Protein Bites. You can get them at physicallyfit.com. There are 11 different flavors, high protein, low carbohydrate. They're incredible. My company's doing really well with these. I'm very proud of it.
How's the podcast going? How's everything going? Are you still
It's
enjoying
going
doing it?
good. It's going good. We have probably one guest a month, and the rest of the time I talk about my career, different staples in my career, different dates. WrestleMania, SummerSlams. Talk about my TNA career on there. But we have a lot of guests. We had Ronda Rousey. We also had Randy Orton on. We have a lot of great guests, so we stay busy.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you like kind of therapeutically going back and revisiting the career? You know what I mean? You like doing that?
Yeah, yeah, I don't mind talking about it. It's a lot of fun to go back and reminisce and talk about the stuff that occurred. A lot of stuff I forget and I have to watch it over again. So I try to prepare for my shows every week and make sure that I have answers to all the questions.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Well, Kurt, thank you so much for all the time. Once again, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, John.